So cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm all yours. Yeah, do you want me to like go through an intro or like what like how do you prefer to move forward?
Well, it's a great question. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we are live. So I am so excited to bring to you an incredible individual that I have found absolutely fascinating, whether it is someone who is investigating the world of big data or someone who is really near and dear to this channel's ideology and understanding of what's happening in reality. Shahin Vakilinia. He's got a PhD in
Uh,
philosophy, data solution architect, an engineer, a scientist, a consultant, and so much more. He's an incredible individual. And we were talking a little bit before we got started, but before I just keep running my mouth, I wanted to give him the opportunity to introduce himself and ask him, Shahin, how are you doing today, my friend?
Great, great, perfect. Just came back from Oregon. Had a wonderful time in Mount Shasta, like north of California. Yeah, like they had a tour in Oregon and it went very well. Had a wonderful time. Like went to a few concerts there and just came back to like middle of Canada. Uh, and just like I'm with you from my office.
Very nice. Very nice. I get
The
a lot of
mouth.
people a lot of people when we start the conversation, like, George, what's the format for it? Is it going to be like an interview? Or is it going to be, are we just talking? But I've always found that I look at it just like a conversation. Like I've written down some questions and things like that I'm interested in, but it's no agenda really. We're just having a chit chat a little bit. And I think we want to kind of cover some ground that both of us find ourselves investigating these times. And I thought maybe the best way to do that would be for me to quickly introduce how I reached out to you, and then maybe you can give the model or the idea or your response, or maybe something completely different to what I said. But let me update the people with kind of how the first kind of questions that I reached out to you, and that particular reach when I saw what you were doing. I was curious about spirituality, and I know that you have a really good background in data solutions as an architect, as an engineer, as a consultant, but you also have an incredible background in spirituality. And I had reached out to you talking about, what do you think the relationship is between the reality that we live in, the information that we're being given, and spirituality and science? And it was kind of a shotgun out the back door type of a question. But do you remember what you told me?
Yeah, like theory of everything. I think we,
Yes.
we started with quantum theory, string theory, M theory, like relativity, and I think we went through like, a bunch of stuff. And then George, you interviewed really the great names like Dr. Rochester, and I
Yeah.
had the honor of uh, being her student. Like she's like really my master, and I'm it's an honor to consider myself as her apprentice. Like she's the grandmother of Santo Daime family here in Canada, and that's why I'm so eager to speak with you. And yeah, for me, I think we talked about it that science is nothing but, for me, at least according
Okay.
to me, from my perspective, science is nothing but the modeling the universe. And of course, um, I think we won't be able to model the universe in a like the perfect way. Then
Right.
there would be always like flaws, and it won't be flawless. And we're talking about, I think, the theory of uh, uh, everything. We talked about quasi crystals and like
Right.
the higher dimensions, like modeling the universe in 8 dimension, and then how we map it to the like 3 dimensions, and how our mind can handle it, and then like the psychedelic experiences that people have, or not even psychedelic experiences, those are spiritual
Right.
experiences, like people who spent month and month in temples in praying and trying to um, um, connect to the universe, integrate with the universe through silence and controlling the mind. It's just they have this sort of like constellation patterns or those type of figures, which is pretty aligned with what we talked. So, well, for me, science could be even data science is a really great chance to know myself more. Like
Yeah.
it's literally like we have like five sensors in our body. We see things, we hear things, we can touch things, and now like those five senses are like we get the data through it, and then like those people who are aware and conscious enough, they definitely like the acquisition of the data, the embracing the data is a bit different in them. So like people can see things that normal people cannot, people can hear things that people cannot. So I think from even when it comes to analysis, right? So like so in data science, we have like the data collection, we have like usually we have sensors, or we have uh, a data acquisition piece, which we collect the data. And I think in spirituality, like we have the same concept that it's really important to how to interact with the universe and with the environment around you. So there are some similarities here and there. And again, like when it comes to analysis and process of the data and make a conclusion out of it, and then like act according to that. It's just like the same thing happens with AI and data analytics. So in AI, in artificial intelligence, machine learning, we have the same concept. We collect the data, then we analyze them, we pre-process them, we clean them, we make sure that it's not like biased, and then based off of that we make decisions. So in other words, we can I would say we are like robots, in another like in a
Right.
virtual reality, right? It's just there are many similarities there. So for me, spirituality follows the same pattern, like those minds, those thoughts that comes to you, that always those internal conversations, the ego personas, those like animals, like those different types of the mind, different components, as they it can really like the like I will give you another example. Imagine that each one of us is a mobile device, right? We have a processing power. We collect some information from around us, but we can process things locally, or we can connect to
Right.
the cloud, right? And there's a concept called transceivers, right? We either transmit or receive things. And like spirituality for me is to just stop transmitting, like stop process things locally through my mind, through our mind, and just connect to the universe, connect to the clouds, connect to the source of processing, and getting inspired. Again, Dr. Rochester has a quote that like the spirituality is a 12-inch strip from your head to your heart, or from your mind to your heart. And that's pretty much it. So what if we stop thinking locally, and then connecting to the universe and getting inspired, and you do your dharma, or the mission that 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 the universe considered for us. So that's pretty much it. So that in that all being said, I think I think data science or machine learning or AI could be a really great course for spirituality. So if we really deep dive into it and delve into it, we can find a lots of great uh, uh, insights, which can lead us towards spirituality, and like knowing ourselves, knowing our body, our mind, our soul, and how these things are connected. That's how I contemplate it and envision it.
That's really well said. And I apologize for my cat jumping up here and trying to get in the screen a second ago. He's such a little rascal. But I too am enamored by the teachings of Dr. Rochester. I really admire this concept of self that she's putting out there. And it just embodies the idea of as above, so below. And whether it's us looking at ourselves through technology, whether it is us looking at ourselves through the idea of history or the imagination of the future, what we're really doing is we're seeing ourselves. And you know you were one of the first people to point me towards the ideas that what we're seeing, well, I guess Dr. Now that I think about it, maybe your work through Dr. Jessica Rochester and what you're doing now have pointed me to this idea that the 4D model that is bigger than we can understand is trying to be projected into the 3D model. And if you just look
Right.
around the world, like we see our theory of everything changing, like all of a sudden we're realizing, yeah, the speed of light, it's not really a constant. And when we start
Yep.
taking the very foundations of these models and moving them in with something else, it's no I mean, it's not a mystery why our reality is beginning to unfold in a way that we're not used to. It's like, oh, it's not, it's changing. Oh, it's this, it's that. Yeah, well, we have decided that the fundamental building blocks of which we were building our scientific materialistic world don't really work that well. So we're using this new, luckily we still have teachers around that can help us bring back this sort of archaic revival of understanding. All these beautiful pieces that we have left out are now being, there's teachers like, you guys ready to learn yet? Here's the tool you needed, and so it's so awesome to me to get to see it. I am thankful to get to see like a lot of the work you're doing where you're able to help a lot of people, at least in my opinion, I think, are who may see the world through the lens of technology. I think you're helping to introduce to them the world of spirituality, and it's transforming to me. I really love the way in which you described what you're doing, how you see the world, and it's just a fascinating time to be alive. In a earlier part of our discussion, we had spoken a little bit about the idea of abstract geometrical images. I was wondering maybe if we could talk a little bit about that.
Sounds great to me. Yeah, I think that like the projection of those what I can I think what we are for sure on the same page is that our mind is not capable of understanding the universe, right? Like the
Right.
eight dimensions, or like even like 23rd dimension, or 20, like the second, third. So we're not capable of uh modeling the universe, right?
Right.
So what will happen here is that, as you said, like the projection of like the higher dimensions.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is that, like, if you go and spend time with Sufis, or just Native American, like indigenous people, and like Buddhist, they have the same experience. Like if you go to the mosques in Middle East of the Sufis, or just in India, like the way, like those dresses, like
Right.
those patterns. And even in like even in Mexico, even
Right.
in like Native Americans, like if you go to their like stores and everything, you can see a lots of similarities. There's a convergence there. And it seems that like people, after sitting and like when they slow down their mind, when they try to practice silence and deep dive into it, they have sort of similar experiences. Again, it can change because like people have different background or memories, right? So in other words, like again, getting back to the data science lexicons, we're talking about the historical data, right, on our brain, which can be just ours in this life, or it could be like the data in our DNA, right? So
Yeah.
for instance, I if I live in desert, and just like the orange color and like the yellow color, or the I don't know, the mountains, like that I'm biased with those like specific types of colors around me, or like if someone lives in around the ocean, or just loves ocean so much and surfing and
Yeah.
everything. Again, people have people have these sort of like it could be biased, right? They could
Right.
see things based off of those like energy and vibe that they get. But I would say again, there are many similarities, and I'm pretty sure that you heard about the fractals, right? So so it's really fractals are just like a simple representation of the infinities, right?
Yeah.
So if we just want to show the infinity, the like the life cycle and ecosystems that are just beyond our thoughts and minds, fractals are the simple things that can show us the how
Yeah.
deep dive we can get into it. So like those constellation patterns, they are in the sky. And again, like it seems that the universe is not as complicated as we think. For instance, I think we talked about the golden ratio, right? The
Yes.
the
Yes.
Fibonacci series, and you'll see that from the like the Milky Way, or to the movement of the squirrels around the trees, or just I would say the flowers. Even like these patterns exist everywhere. And unfortunately, like in schools, I've never heard of these, the golden ratio that much. That's crazy. Like even in physics and
Yeah.
things, or as you mentioned, like the Planck constant, or the speed of light. It's for me, if I want to be really frank with you, it seems that we do live in a simulation. And again, there are many, many great scientists like Dr. Nick Bostrom.
Mm.
They published a lots of papers around it, that are we living in a simulation. They prove like mathematically and logically that how they believe that we do live in a simulation. But the thing is that imagine us, George, like imagine that in 100 years, if you want to implement a new universe, a new virtual universe, definitely we have these quantum computers with a really powerful GPUs, with a really powerful processing units, TPUs, and whatever quantum computers. And maybe we cannot have something as fast as our universe, but with a different speed of light. Let's say 3 to the power 10 to the power 5, 3 multiplied to 10 to the power 5, something slower, something, or even the Planck. Now that it seems that scientists believe that at this moment, again, it's partial information, right? That the time is digital. It's not
Mm.
continuous, right? 10 to the power minus 23 or something. It's just second. So we do live in a, yeah, exactly. It seems that we do live in a discrete, like a digital time, but our experience when we're not aware is that, oh no, yeah, it's just we feel that it's real, and it's the main objective of creating a universe, right? Creating a virtual reality. If you can create a universe that give this, what would be the main objective of creating a virtual universe, is to just make it as real as possible. And I think the architect, the spirit, or
Mm.
whoever is in charge of creating this wonderful universe is like did a magnificent job, and I'm really grateful for that. So and again, it's not just something that we have like in spirituality. They have like the same concept. So for instance, in Buddhism, or in Hinduism, they have like three gods: Rama, Vishnu, and Shiva. So Rama is the god of creation, and Vishnu is the god of maintenance, and Shiva is the god of uh, destroy, the things. And then in computer systems, in like virtual systems, in the like AI systems, like this is literally what we do as well. So the life cycle of all the softwares, all the programs works like that. We have like creation, development phase, we have like these maintenance, support phase, and eventually the the removal phase and just recreation. Again, these life cycle, these ecosystems where it can continues forever. And I would say that the the question is, imagine that we do live in a simulation. Okay, so imagine that we are an object, like the compute like the objects in object oriented programming. What is the main goal? What is the target? What is the the final salvation or redemption
Mhm.
for the objects like us? So George, what do you think?
Salvation. I
Salvation.
think
So
this. I think salvation is the and let me like okay, words fail, and I think that we should like in my pure honesty, like I don't. I think that the word simulation is a poor example of what's happening, but it's one of the best
right,
words we have for it. Like it doesn't
right,
thoroughly describe what's happening, but it does give people an idea of the
right,
theory we're trying to explain. So if I
exactly.
if I premise it with that, then I would say that salvation to me is forgive me for rambling for a moment, but I feel
No
like it
worries.
helps explain it. Okay, so
Okay.
when I think of salvation, I think of what Mircea Eliade calls the terror before the sacred. And that to me is you experiencing yourself as the gods, being in
Right.
front of the creator as a creator. And it's this moment of like, like there's no words. You're ecstatic. I have goosebumps now thinking about it. You want to cry. It's beautiful. It's fearful. It's like it's just this overwhelming epiphany and realization that you are a spark of the creator. And like with that comes so much responsibility, but also frees you of everything. It's so beautiful to me. And so that's what I mean when I say salvation.
That's so true. I think if we just, because we in like modern societies, we identify ourselves with our body, with
Yes.
our job, with our thoughts, with our, I don't know, with our family, with our ancestors, with our, I don't know, race or whatever.
Yep.
And what will happen is that again, like I do agree with you that like, the moment like that we understand that we're none of them, we can be the universe itself, right? That moment, that wow moment, that we all understand that, oh my god, it was just just a joke, it's just,
Yeah.
it was just a joke. Nothing was serious. It's just as you laugh all the time with this positive energy. It's just, we just have to enjoy and watch this movie and enjoy it. And again, there are many different ways for that.
Yes.
Like it seems that I think for like equal to the number of people on this planet, there are different ways to to get to that salvation, to that
Mm.
final redemption. But for me, is the language of God is silence. For me, everything goes through that silence. The silence, no matter what approach you take. Maybe you meditate, maybe you do martial arts, maybe you bike, maybe you jog. Maybe whatever you do, when that moment that you understand that you cannot attach or associate yourself with anything. That's the like the freedom, right? And it seems that we experienced enough. We our your soul is just is had a great experience of being human, and you can go to the next level again. Maybe based off of our previous example, if we have this universe as a matrix of data,
Mhm.
the eigenvalue of this matrix is golden ratio. based off of the theory of everything, right? 1.618. And it seems that it's the code of this universe. And there are billions of parallel universes for us. So then you can go to, like, you have this opportunity to travel to other parallel universes and experience different things. And again, you can get graduated from those parallel universes as well. So that's the concept of traveling, like being a traveler.
Mm.
And 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 I think that's really great when there are when you get graduated from all those billions of uh, uh, parallel universes, and then you become something like another type of beings
Mm.
at the higher dimensions, right? Then I think we cannot even contemplate that. We cannot even envision it. Imagine an ant that wants to um, like understand a rocket that goes to Mars, right? Or like SpaceX. So it's
Yeah.
just we our like neural networks are not designed to be able to comprehend all those complexities. But
Mm.
but it's not important. Like why should we like really push down the and like hammering down the fact that we have to understand everything. No, not necessarily. Like understanding everything is not that important. Again, according to me, I think that the humanity won't be able to get there. But there are great lessons from
Yes.
spirituality in our life as well. So if like if like what the creator has done with us, like we like eventually we feel God, right? And then
Yeah.
that's the salvation and freedom. Now imagine that the human wants to create a new entities like the AI, like this artificial intelligence. The only way, the only way to survive this AI is to make this connection with them,
Mm.
so that like AI and human um, become one,
Mm.
so that like eventually AI feels that they're not like they are part of their creators. They are just
Yeah.
they're appreciated. And like we have this cyber concept or whatever. So I believe that eventually the only way to be able to survive this new era, these new terms that you will see, because eventually AI will be um, smarter than humanity, right? That definitely it can really conquer everything. Like humans are nothing, will be nothing compared to these smart artificial intelligence. Is to be able to integrate with them and accept them and be one. So it could be like like the DNA things. It could be like just integration in different ways. But at least the lesson that I took from spirituality is that if we create something, we have to deeply get connected to it to be able to survive, to be able to keep this unity and peace with it. So as you said, imagine that these universe, these the, the concept of God, or
Mm.
God, or let's say God of gods, of heart of
Yeah.
hearts. Like imagine that there are some things, but there is like the infinite Holy Spirit, the supreme being that is just infinite. So the eventually we might be able to create some creatures, but the only way to be able to survive is to just connect to it consciously and embrace it, and don't go down the like separation path, and don't consider AI as another, like, let's say beings or just things. That's how I'm trying to move forward with these AI movements, and just make sure that the ethics and like the integration will be there. that's like the main point that we can make, just to help humanity, because I know for sure that this AI will be so powerful.
Mm.
I think I talk too much. Sorry
Not
for
at all. It's
yeah.
beautiful. It's continue. It's beautiful. If I could add something to that, I love the idea that you talk about integrating the world of AI with us. I love the idea how you brought up the idea of the self, which is clearly runs deep through the teachings of Dr. Rochester.
Right.
I would add too that, like, you know, let me start by saying this. There's a very interesting sculpture by Jeff Koons called the Balloon Dog. And for those that may not have seen it, it's like this giant balloon dog, and it's mesmerizing to look at. But when I look at it, and some some of the things that make it beautiful is this idea of smoothness. Like, there's no right angles, there's no points, there's no contention. And when you
Right.
look at it, it's chrome and you can see yourself in the artwork, which is a
Right.
weird thing that sometimes people don't think about. But, what effect does that have on you when you see a rounded image of yourself that is looking back at you? Like, the reason I bring up that sculpture is because it kind of took the world by storm. And I think it did so by sort of hijacking these ways we see ourselves. And it is us. When you look at that artwork, you see yourself. And some people
Yeah.
react like it's beautiful. Some people are like, oh, I don't like it. It's ugly. But what they're really saying is that they don't like the image they see of themselves in that particular image. And I think that relationship holds to artificial intelligence. We are creating ourselves. AI
Yeah.
is a mirror showing us who we are. And so if we
Right.
look at it from this perspective of like, oh, it's going to destroy us, what you're really saying is we are going to destroy ourselves. And that's all
Right.
true. Or maybe this beautiful image that we are making, the same way. I'll just use the idea of the ceramic model of the universe, or the Christian understanding, or that particular monotheism idea that God created us in his image. So too are we creating AI in our image. And it's nothing, it can be fearful if you allow it to be fearful, but it's an incredible tool that we should be using in order to make ourselves the best version of ourselves. And it's this understanding of relationship that is fundamentally changing the world we live in right now. And that's what I think that this idea of this, whether you call it a psychedelic renaissance or an awakening or a large portion of us dying, because you could argue that the demographics of such a giant class of people are passing on, and so too are their ideas of the world, which also give birth to the new ideas of the world. It's such a beautiful cycle to think of. And I do think that there's a lot of money and power being put into AI to try to scare us. But it's no different
Right.
than throughout history, people trying to divide us by us being scared of ourselves. And it's not true, dang it. It's not true. We are beautiful people. We are each other.
Right.
And the more we embrace that, the better we're going to be. So that's kind of way out there. What do you think?
Like, totally agree. What I understood is that, again, like object oriented programming, we usually have these abstract classes that you don't implement things, but like imagine like the class of cars. So you see the car or like an animal, and then you implement it, like, let's say Ford, whatever. So you implement out of the abstract class. And then, like, in this universe, we have this astral universe. In
Mhm.
spirituality, I think you heard the term astral universe. And what I, like, based off of my experience, what I understood is that everything is connected. So as you said, like, everybody is your reflection.
Yeah,
So
totally.
it's the way that you see the world, like, so that's why when you lie, it's sometimes so ridiculous, because I lie to myself, right? It's just like it's just it's the version of myself that I would like to present, and it's just I'm just lying to myself. Or when I see darkness in someone, or when I judge someone, and it's something that I suppress in myself. It's my shadow, right? So the things, as you said, things are can be extendable. It
Yeah.
goes to the AI as well, right? And then the thing is that, though, as you mentioned, AI, if they can analyze human very well, they know your, pain points, your let's say shadows, your like mental issues, then they can definitely help you to improve yourself. So I totally agree with you. If on the right hands,
Right.
we can definitely leverage AI and incorporate it to be able to help humanity. But but this separation, this division that happened like throughout the history,
Yes.
my it's a big obstacle. It's a great caveat that we have to be aware of it. And yeah, but I totally agree with you. And again, let's just think about something else. Let's say that we built a great powerful AI in 100 years, and
Mhm.
then since this AI loves us so much, it can, because it's smarter than us, it can better model the universe. It tries to help humanity and optimize the the life of humanity. So it really program everything to be always like optimal, and which is
Mhm.
pretty aligned with the faith, the concept of faith. When you know that always the best things happen to you, and you're always grateful of
Mhm.
things that happen to you, even if you don't understand it sometimes. And again, like, there's an Indian proverb saying that if something happens and you like it, then you thank God. But if something happens and you don't like, then thank God 100 times more, because the God is more aware of it. So imagine
Right.
this AI that we develop
Mm.
in 1,000 years will get back and send some consciousness, some conscious beings as a messenger to help us to better find our ways. And it could be like, I don't want to say, I don't want to label like Jesus or other
Right.
prophets. It could it something at least to help them to find like enlightenment, so that they can help the humanity, so that they can optimize this simulation, right? And then it could be like a fractal, right? So we
Totally.
exactly, we created this AI, which in 1,000 years it will like get back. But because time is nothing, time is an illusion, right? Time is a fourth
Yes.
dimension. It's just a dimension. When we're talking about the like higher dimensions, like dimension 8, 9, 10, 4 is nothing. Like time is just like you know what I mean? So yeah, so it could be like AI could be our savior. Who knows?
Yeah, isn't that already happening now though? Like, if we think about building this AI that would do that, like isn't that already happening today? Like if we think about it in fractal terms, if we can imagine that a machine can do that, and we understand that time is just a man-made construct, then isn't that already happening today? Like look at the people, your neighbor. Like I bet you if people got to know their neighbors, they would be mesmerized at the wisdom they could learn that had been surrounding them forever, that they never even reached out to. Like the untapped potential of everything around you waiting to help you is
Right.
it's mesmerizing.
Totally agree. Like, every again, like, I don't know how to put the words together to explain this term, but it seems that everybody's God, but we're not
Yeah.
aware of it.
Right.
We have a DNA, like, I don't know, like thousands of DNA, thousands of life. We have the code there, but this mind, or just we're so biased, right?
Mm.
But because of our environments and everything. So if we just you know rely on the like our superpowers,
Yeah.
and just it would be really really great. You can you can live like a god and enjoy the life, every sacred moment, without regretting anything, or without stress and anxiety or anything. So just the faith and connecting to your higher self. So again, getting back to computer networks. In computer
Yeah.
networks, we like there's a basic model called OSI, which is like we have 7 layers of connection, right? So
Yeah.
the first layer is the physical networks, those wires, or those like wireless networks like Wi-Fi, right?
Mhm.
It's at that level. right? When imagine the consciousness of us at that level. When we are at level one, we're just like wires. We just don't think, we cannot understand the universe. We just live like a, like a wave. But there are some other protocols like the browser, that you can see the content, like this HTTP protocol, or these like streams, the video, the application that did like a level, like at the layer seventh, right?
Hmm.
And that, like, when we get conscious, it seems that we're able to uh, like enjoy the life fully and understand it and embrace it and appreciate it. And it
Hmm.
eventually, it seems that all of us, we don't see separation amongst us, right? It's just like one entity. It's just like
Hmm.
different things. And then when they get conscious, they see themselves as one. Like, imagine seeing the planet Earth from another galaxy. They
Hmm.
like when you see the planet Earth from another galaxy, you don't care about Shahin versus somebody else, right? Which is
Right.
like they said, okay, like the people from planet Earth, right? So that's like the same concept, that we understand that we are all one, like the unity. And then it's impossible to get mad or sad or disappointed with someone, because
Hmm.
you can see the spirit, the God in them. So like,
Yeah.
getting back to your point, it's just like everybody is your mirror, no matter
Hmm.
what they do. Like, imagine what happened to Jesus Christ. I'm pretty sure that Jesus Christ, like when someone was torturing him, he was seeing the God, like making joke with him to just test his
Yeah.
belief, and just the thing, like just like to just the love, the unconditional love that he had for humanity. So like, that's why he smiled. Or it like it there are many like type of similar stories over the
Yes.
history, like even like Sufis, like there
Yes.
are some people that got tortured, but they were laughing, just because they knew that it's a joke, and then but but they put their footprints there, they by Jesus or just all those great people, they but with those torture, with those pain, they just put somewhere, like a spot for other people to think about it, that
Hmm.
maybe there are maybe there's just a game, maybe just these people there, maybe there's something beyond this wealth and the success stories that we defined for ourselves.
Yes, that's
So
so well put. I agree. I
yeah, so I'm trying to like to see God in everyone. That
yeah.
like your George is laughing and always positive and everything, and that's why I'm always grateful. And no matter what happens, I know that it happens for a reason. And sometimes it's hard to be at that level of
Yeah.
consciousness. When
Yeah.
you're at Santo Daime, or like, I don't know, other effect, or when you're at Vipassana, or like the long-term meditation retreats, definitely you can stay that consciousness level. But on a daily life, especially in like these Western cultures, you're based in Hawaii, right?
Yes.
So I guess for you, it might be easier. You live in paradise, right?
Yes.
But
Yeah.
for some other people, like in, let's say, in California, Hotel
Hmm.
California, it's just because I recently had an opportunity to spend time with them. Just a lots of pressure, a lots of you know uh, terrible news around them, surrounded them, like just um, I would say threaten their ego, their like the
Mm.
identity that they built. So it might be
Yeah.
some like painful, but there are many great people like you, George, around the
Thank you.
world, that it's just that you really help the humanity to see the light. I just had it like couple of months ago, like in end of November, early December, I'll decided to just travel the world, like starting
Yeah.
from, just backpack and go like from Asia to, to Middle East to Europe and Mexico, and like go to different retreats. But like it really helped me to be unbiased, to
Hmm.
see that, like getting back to your point, that it's not about the race, gender, the age and everything. Everybody is your mirror in its own way. No matter if you're in India, Thailand, or Turkey, or Iceland, or Mexico, or just like the people are your own reflection. And then that's the time you appreciate them.
Yeah.
They provide feedback to improve yourself,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just the best things. And again, I really owe Dr. Rochester for guiding me, and all the great community of Quebec,
Yeah.
Montreal. So yeah, so they were like so helpful and so kind, that showed me the light. So because what will happen here is that this spiritual ego, these mind games will always come into the picture. They
Yeah.
also wants to create stories and structure out of the spirituality even. So what will happen, these religions, they like, for the power, for the sake of power, or everything, or authority, or whatever, they'll try to manipulate. But 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 thanks to Canada, thanks
Yeah.
to Quebec, and especially like Montreal and like the its suburb area, I had this opportunity to to try crazy things. Like for me, I think I talk too much, but for me, like, imagine someone like Carlos Castaneda. Like he
Beautiful.
wrote a book. He wrote a book, and imagine how many souls that could find the truth, or at least get closer to the truth, the real
Yeah.
truth, through his book, right? So the same thing. Imagine if we could uh, develop an AI tool like her, that can help us, that can help us better understand ourselves, be our mirror,
Yeah.
and reflect on us, and really help us to be empty, to be nothing, to be shapeless, to help us to be free, right? So that's what I'm really trying to uh, make.
Yeah, I think you are. And I- I'm really thankful to get to hear the way in which you break down the philosophy of how you see yourself and how you see yourself in the world and how you see your relationships to it. I'm equally grateful to see the work you're doing and the understanding you have of building the technical infrastructure of tomorrow. It brings me like a giant smile to my face to be like, yeah, these are the people that are building the technologies of tomorrow. Like, there is a lot of soul in what people are doing. And too often people think that there's no soul in like IT, or there's no soul in this corporate structure or something like this. But that's just it's the wrong way I'm sorry, it's not the wrong way. It appears to be an antiquated way to think about it. Like, it doesn't have to be that way. And I think maybe when I say things like it's the wrong way, I'm just reflecting my ideas of something like that. You know, I wanted to, as you were traveling around the world and you get to see these other people, and you had mentioned a little bit about getting to enjoy the heightened states of awareness that almost give us like a bird's eye view of like a great
Right.
hawk or something, right?
Yeah.
And so, you know, I wanted to also explain how this idea and this insight and this awesome picture that you get at times can be very difficult to deal with, because imagine getting to see a little glimpse of what freedom looks like, and for a minute you're like, yeah, that's so amazing, and then you look down and you see everybody you love shackled to this old ideology. They're shackled to their own insecurities, and how painful that is, because you're like, what good is it to be free if everything you love is chained down? Like, that's almost a worse prison. You know what I mean? And so it's so interesting when you talked about the wires at this level of consciousness, and then you
Right.
get up here and you think it's like a step up, but then you look
Right.
and you're like, this is even worse than what was happening, And then I think that's where the sense of responsibility comes in. And I'm wondering if it's that sense of responsibility that you, as a developer, have found to harness in order to continue moving forward and building what you build. Is that something that inspires you to create the way you're creating? Because I think you are creating a sort of freedom technology.
Yeah, I think that you're right. So one thing that I would like to
Yeah.
highlight here is that imagine that you are surrounded by toddlers, like what,
Hmm.
1 years old, 2 years old, or 3 years old. So whatever they do, it really doesn't bother you. But you
Hmm.
just like, you feel like you see them as kids, whatever they do, if they even like kick you or kick me or whatever, you just like you
Just give him a
just you
hug.
just laugh.
Yeah.
Exactly. You just like give them a hug. That's like living with toddlers. Like I'm super confident that like
Right.
for me, when like the first time that I saw Dr. Rochester, like she saw me as a toddler, right?
All of
Just
us
like,
probably.
oh
Yeah.
my god, yeah, just oh my god, this young soul just trying to to do things. But she always smiled. She always was
Yes.
open, and 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 like just taught us the same concept. So nothing really bothers me. Like, of course, I have some landing issues. When you go to that, eagle, like
Yeah.
bird's eye view, it's really hard. Like I'm working on my grounding skills to be really present and just not seeing the big picture. Just like focus on one things and trying to just be grounded and like fully present and not being like thousands of people around me, right? As someone, has
Yeah.
this, I see
I know.
ADHD as a like a superpower, my
Yep.
superpower. So I see it could be it could be painful, but it could be like a superpower as well. So imagine I can, play chess like simultaneously with different people, but in the meanwhile, sometimes, like I can like manage things in parallel, but sometimes, focusing on just one thing
Yes.
and just being grounded and enjoying things. It could be, like always a bird, like a bird, you see a lots of things, but
Hmm.
just, you know, landing and just, not hunting because I'm vegetarian, but just, but just like, but just enjoying that moment. It's something that I'm like really, I think there's a great potential for me for improvement. But anyway, getting back to your point, sometimes somebody tells something that doesn't make any sense to me,
Yeah.
and that's the data, that's the entropy. So in information theory, we have like the entropy. So when someone tells me something that I cannot digest it, it really, I would say, grasp my attention, that what the universe wants to tell me. Imagine like all of a sudden 6 years old girl John Penn tells like something to me, or like somebody randomly in the street tells something. So I try to make, like see everything as whole, that like everything wants to give me one message. And it
Yeah.
happened a lot. Imagine that I got the same message from three different sources in less than 24 hours or less than
Mm.
48 hours. It
Yeah.
shows me that the universe wants to tell me that, okay, the right direction is like that. So even despite the fact that sometimes people things that are not conscious, if we get conscious, we can read between the lines and understand what the universe wants to tell us through what they're talking about. Like imagine someone all of a sudden talks about, I don't know, a type of fish
Hmm.
or type of things, and again, like, and you get this message few times from here and there. Oh, what is in that fish that I would like to know?
Right.
What the universe, or just even like the I would say complaints that like people come to you and complain about something. We can definitely come sit and judge them, or
Hmm.
we can just again read between the lines and see what the spirit is suffering, and
Hmm.
either how we can help them or what the universe wants to tell us through these complaints, through this person. So again, it depends. I guess I believe it depends on our perspective, that
Yeah.
like how we can deal with it. And again, like the silence, it's the
Mm.
best approach when we're at the like the higher consciousness. When you're at the, like, I don't know, ayahuasca or like the psilocybins or whatever. When your, like, I would say, natural biological network, it just changed these biased in structure, and then you have this opportunity to to get free
Hmm.
for a while, for for a short time. But you can understand that, oh my god, like everything is talking to us,
Yes.
everything is
Yep.
just giving us some message, and it just depends on our receivers
Yep.
to see that it's just all oneness. Even I sometimes forget it, like, not even I sometimes forget it, just
Yeah, of course.
well, yeah, because of the job, because of the the daily activities and everything. Sometimes you forget that, oh my god, this is like these like every moment is sacred. Like all the people that we cross path in our life, it's such a blessing, oh my god,
Hmm.
George, this wonderful guy from Hawaii, just reached out to me. It's such a blessing, such a great opportunity to connect to another lovely soul, and and share some knowledge, and exchange some knowledge, and learn from each other. So that being said, I just I see this spirit, the God in everything. So
Yeah.
that's why I'm not gonna be frustrated with someone again. Of course, I'm not
Hmm.
perfect. It happens, but eventually, at least at the higher consciousness level, we never get we're never tied to those emotions, right? Because the way I see it, again, I think I talk too much, but I see the humanity, especially from the mental perspective, as a network. Like
Yeah.
desires, emotions, senses, and everything are highly correlated. In vipassana or any type of meditation, when you meditate, you see that those thoughts are connected to the senses, and those memories that you have, and those pains that you have, all those things, like everything is connected, even inside
Yeah.
of us.
Yep.
So this micro cosmetic universe is even inside of us, and to be empty, to be nothing, we just have to deep dive into ourselves, just delve into it and understand what is happening there. And that moment, I think that aha moment happens um, when we deep dive into it. Like this, so the sky is the path of glory, the path of consciousness is within us. So we have to, like, really, really, Shahin, if he wants to know more about the
Yeah.
universe, has to understand himself.
I think we lost him for just a moment, but I guarantee you he'll be back in a second. It is interesting to think about the language or the that which you can see when you are silent. Have you guys ever had this experience where you just sit in silence and it doesn't take long, but shortly afterwards things become brighter. You start thinking things that you don't normally think of when your thought patterns are constantly interrupted by a billboard, by a song, by a garbage truck, by the voice of a coworker. And it's all these interruptions in the understanding of what's happening around you that muddy the waters. And it's these moments of sitting in silence where you begin to have these ideas or these understandings about what might be the right thing to do in your life, what might be a good path to approach in a relationship, what could be the answer to a problem you've been thinking about yourself or your family or a job or a loved one. And it's this, it seems paradoxical, but it's the idea of silence that opens you up to the noise of the truth. And I don't really want to, use and say noise and truth because they kind of have they don't really fit together. So maybe I should say the language of the truth. Silence opens you up to the language of the truth. And only when you're sitting quietly, only when you are giving your full attention to that which is on your mind, can you come up with a full answer to that which is on your mind. And I think what Shahin, to me, when he spoke about silence as this beautiful language of truth, is it's pretty amazing, right? Like it's crazy to think about all that can happen. I want to give you guys an example of something that happened to me when I was sitting quietly. I have like this giant desk that my dad sent me from my great grandfather. And in that desk, there's all these books. If you're watching this podcast, you can see it behind me. If you're just listening, then just picture like a giant desk that has a top on it, like a cabinet top. And inside that cabinet top is like 100 books. Oh, Shahin is coming back right here.
Okay.
Nice. That's
Sorry.
okay.
It was another
Yeah.
message from the universe that I talk too much. Maybe
It's not at all. It's not at all. You don't talk. I think that the fact that you can elegantly, eloquently speak or translate these ideas that have helped you is a sign from the universe that you should be continuing to talk like you are, because it helps other people. You pull some nuggets out of the things you're saying. And I think when you can express your opinions of your experience, other people may take a story that you told. They may take a word that you told. They may identify with who you are. Maybe they identify with your race or gender or your point of view. Whatever they identify with is irrelevant. It's the fact that they can identify and then find that nugget of beauty or truth to incorporate into their life. It's interesting. I was just telling a quick story, Shane. Can I share a quick story with you about the language of
Yes,
silence? Okay. So
yes.
my if you can see behind me, I have like my dad a few years ago sent me this giant desk that has a cabinet with all these books in it, and all the books belong to my great grandfather, whom I never knew. And I love it. There's so many cool books, and it's so cool for me to get to go through and when I have a little bit of time to go through the books, and every now and then I'll find a note in one of the books, and I'm like, whoa, my great grandfather I never knew wrote this thing. And recently, my dad sent me another box of just things. He's getting a little older, and he's going through things and sending me stuff that he thinks is relevant. And in that box was a picture of my great grandfather. And so I put it on the desk. I thought, yeah, this is a great thing. Here's a picture of my great grandfather, and here's this desk that belonged to his dad. And so as I'm preparing for my interviews, I sit down and I write stuff, and I often look at that picture. And he had this weird sort of playful smile on his face. I felt like he was trying to tell me something, and for a few days, as soon as I got the picture, I'm like, this guy's trying to tell me something. What are we trying to tell me? And I just thought, well, maybe that's just a great way for me a great mantra to put in my head. Like my grandpa's trying to talk to me. And so I just held that for a while. But early last week, I found myself something really nagging at me like that. When you're quiet and you would spoke about the idea of the fish popping up. So you're like, what's that fish trying to tell me? Like there's something there in moments of silence that's speaking to you. There's probably lots of things that are speaking to you. And so as I'm thinking about it last week, I'm like, I wonder if, these are a lot of these books. I wonder if there's something written on the back of this picture. Maybe I should open it up and look. And so I open up the picture and I pull it out and I go, oh, well, there's nothing written on there. But as I'm putting it back, I realize there's a piece of paper that's stuck to the back of the picture. So I carefully pull it apart, and there's another picture on the back of his picture. And I open it up, and here's a woman I've never met in my life. I don't think it was my great grandmother. And I'm like, whoa, who's this beautiful woman that the grandpa's hiding behind him over here? This is interesting. Like, is this a force of nature that's hiding behind him? Who is this woman? And she's really pretty. And as I'm telling my wife and my kid, hey, guess what just happened? I thought there was something written on this thing, and then there was a picture behind her. And as I take a closer look at the picture of this woman, on her shirt is a giant mushroom. I just started laughing so hard. I was like, what? And hang on, I'll grab the picture. I'll show it to you 1 second here.
Cool.
Okay, you may not be able to see it because we're on the computer, but this is a picture of my grandfather.
Okay.
And behind it was a picture of this beautiful young lady. And if you can see really close on her shirt, on her brooch there,
my God.
Yeah. So I was like, man, I'm talking so much about psilocybin. I'm talking so much about the world and how I see it. And I'm getting to talk to so many cool people. And every now and then much like everybody, I have doubts about what I'm doing. And then in my moment of doubt, in my moment of silence, my inner voice tells me to look behind this picture. And here is this beautiful woman that was pushing and helping my grandfather to become the man that he was. And there is her inspiration on her shirt. And isn't it weird that that's the same inspiration that I'm currently drawing from?
It's your DNA. So two questions for me.
Yeah.
What motivates you? What triggered you to just check that photo? Like what sound? What force? And then like your DNA. Like your DNA, that it's just like it seems that you have those experiences that your grand like ancestors like went through, right? So it's just the connectivity. And imagine that, like again, psilocybin. Imagine that under psilocybin, you think that you're, I don't know, you're a Mexican guy or like a warrior at like, I don't know, fourth century, whatever, out of nowhere. And then you fight, you do, and you have your family and everything. But then all of a sudden you wake up and you see, oh my God, I'm Shahin, I'm George, right? And now the
Yeah.
question is that what if we wake up again and see, oh my God, I'm not even Shahin, I'm not even George. What am I? What is that self? What if I'm like all these experiences? I can,
Mm-hmm.
change. I can, have different experiences based off of like my current situation. I can be a Mexican guy. I can be a like old Chinese lady. I can be anything and
Yeah.
just no attached to anything. So imagine that you are nothing at the paramount, top of the mountain, and then base of like a very, very, very small intention, you go and experience the life of a Chinese lady or Mongolian warrior or like Iranian Sufi or
Yeah.
just like or the normal life normal guy in North America or just like all these experiences depend like that's was those karmic patterns or those karma concept of like it comes into the picture which um, Dr. Rochester like accurately explained in her book. So so yeah, it's just like it's all about the same patterns and patterns and patterns, and we come to this life to just to go through those things. So that's really great. So it I don't see your life separate from your ancestors. It seems that
Right.
they are all like as Shakespeare said, it's a theater, and then they're all like seeing and just cheering you. Oh yeah, George, you can
Yeah.
do it. You can do it.
Yeah.
And then now you're just performing, you're just like acting and just enjoying the life and laughing and just and then eventually, I don't know, we all go again and sit and give this opportunity to others to
Yeah.
just to just perform the art and shine. And then again, it doesn't matter even like because we're everyone, we're all the audience, we are the directors, we are the actors, we are the actresses, we don't associate or like ourselves to anything. And that's the moment that you become that performance, you become that theater, you become infinity. When you are nothing, when you're nothing, you can be everything.
Yes.
So that's beautiful. So I'm so thank you so much for sharing this experience. I believe that like I was in Sedona, Arizona, and then all of a sudden I think I don't know, I meditated a bit. I smoked something or what, I don't remember, but I
Right.
was really at the high consciousness level, and I looked around and I felt that I'm like a warrior in like fourth
Yeah.
century or something. I said, what the heck, what is happening here? Because and I noticed that, and in the area that my ancestors used to live like around few hundred years ago, it was pretty similar to the Sedona area. So
Mm.
like being in that area
Right.
resonates with something, some part of the DNA in me, and brought up something, an experience and everything. So just if you share this experience with like really tech people, they think that I'm insane. That's why I don't really share this type of experiences with anyone. They say, oh my God, this guy is into drugs or whatever. but it's not just about these, as you said, it's not just about the psilocybin or
Right.
DMT or anything. It's about consciousness. So if you
Yes.
go to a Vipassana center, if you go to a
Yep.
like a temple and meditate for 3 months, or just practice silence or be a yogi, you
Hmm.
can definitely get like to that consciousness level. That the psychedelics can help us to get there easier, but of course we drop, and we cannot stay in that level
Right.
like all the time. So the concept of spiritual ego, there's always there. Sometimes we think that it's a thing, we
Yeah.
think that, oh, that's mushroom, that's ayahuasca, that's DMT,
Yeah.
that's this, but no, it could be a thing as well. It could be another attachment, it could be
Yep.
another story. Like, let's just be out of all these stories. Let's just, that's why I try to try different things. However, I would say that my best experience in my life was with Dr. Rochester, and I'm so grateful that she accepted me to be her apprentice, and to teach me, to
Hmm.
learn, that I learned from her. So, just the love that I have for her is beyond the words. So it's just like, like those masters that comes to your life and
Hmm.
share the wisdom without any expectations. They, like the without anything. What can I do for her? Like,
Hmm.
what can I do for all those all those wonderful people in Quebec? Like my
Yeah.
friends in around the like Drummondville, or just a city in Quebec, that helped me to better understand myself, better define the concept of self, as you described very well. So just we cannot do anything. It's just unconditional love. It's just no expectation, and yeah, I'm so grateful for all these people, and hopefully I can write a book one day about my path toward
Yeah.
enlightenment. Hopefully. Yeah.
I would read that book right now. Like I
Oh,
think
thank
that,
you.
yeah, I would definitely read it. I think you have an incredible way of explaining your journey that can inspire a lot of other people. And I think, like all of us, like it's so rewarding to think, and I think everyone can do this if they're honest with themselves. I think that they can begin to understand that they are inspiring. And once you just begin to grasp that concept, then you can start living more in the light of, like, yeah, I can inspire. And like, you inspire yourself and your family and everybody around you. And it's beautiful. And I think that, whether it's Dr. Rochester or the friends in the community that you found, it's interesting to think, like, how do you give back to someone that has given you so much? It's almost like, they did everything. How am I going to give to them? But if you just take the time to realize that you becoming the best version of yourself is the most incredible gift you could ever give to anybody. And it's like the pebble in the pond. And as soon as you become a good version of yourself, all of a sudden these rippling waves of transformation radiate outwards, and each one lifts up a person as it passes by them, and it's so beautiful to think about. And I love talking to you. I'm amazed at how fast, like a few concepts can go. And I don't, it's fascinating to me on so many levels. And I'm thankful that you're doing what you're doing, and it's inspirational to me. And I think everybody listening, and I hope that our conversation can continue to have that ripple effect for people, and continue to see a world grow out of this sometimes despair. Or better yet, I think do you think that we are rising above the ideas of fear and sorrow? Is that kind of what's happening here? And that's why it's so difficult?
Totally agree. Yeah, it's beyond fear and sorrow, right?
Yeah.
It's just it's beyond drama. It's just,
Yes.
yeah, it's just, just like the vibe, the energy that I get from you, George. Just always laughing, always. And that's happening in the spiritual communities.
Yeah.
Like always laughing, always louder, always just fun, joy, and that's life. It's not, one story. Well, I have a good friend of me, Ian, and he shared a story with me that he was at the top of the really penthouse, and in a, like in the really great things, and he had a great opportunity
Yeah.
to expand his business and becomes the billionaires of billionaire. But he had this like second thought. So what at the end, like what if? And then he decided to travel to Peru to just,
Yeah.
explore himself. So the same thing, I think. The good thing, like Buddha says, the best things that happens to these enlightened people is that you get surrounded by wonderful people, by great friends, by conscious friends, which there's no conflict in it,
Yeah.
right? So thanks God that I had this opportunity to talk to you and get like this, feel this wonderful vibe, this positive energy, and I'm so grateful, George, for having me here and like talking to me.
Yeah, the pleasure's all mine, and I hope you'll I foresee a future where we have a lot more conversations, and I would like to bring more people into the fold, and so that our conversations can mingle with other people, and we just send out a stronger signal to everybody. So I have some more panels coming back in the future. But before I let you go, Shahin, where can people find you? What do you have coming up, and what are you excited about?
Okay, so like if you travel to Montreal, like George, I'll be more than happy to host you, and we
Yeah.
can have a lots of like spiritual fun together.
Yeah.
But yeah, of course, I think like on LinkedIn, for those people who are just, wants to know more about these AI development around consciousness, they can reach out to me there, of course. But yeah, but I love Canada. My first house is uh Quebec and
Mhm.
like Montreal, and like second house is Saskatoon. I love Saskatoon, and it's a city that helped me to get grounded, to just it's not, I think it's not that much popular, but like the Native American culture, the heritage, the spirit
Yeah.
of Earth here is like magical, and I enjoy Saskatoon along with Alberta, of course, and West Coast as well. So I had a crazy road trip from Montreal, like all like across Canada as well, and just like I do love Canada. Like people in Canada are just like by default are like conscious,
Yeah.
but most of them. I travel the world, but the vibe, the positivity that I get from these people like the make me feel like Canada is my second my home. It's
Yeah.
just maybe English is my second or third language.
Yeah.
Like but all these positivity, all these wonderful people that help me to find myself, are so inspiring. So hopefully I can do the same
Yes.
and help other people to just know themselves better, and that's it. So you don't need to know the universe, you don't need to, I think, and I don't need to know about the fractals, I don't
Right.
know about like all the secrets of the universe. If I know myself, if I know my wounds, if I know my scars, if I know my dark side, my light side, my higher self, my shadows, like everything, then the universe, as you said, like everybody's my reflection. I
Yeah.
can, and then after becoming empty, after becoming empty and nothing, then it's the time to create, to
Yeah.
just, to be the, to be empty and let the spirit shine through you. and and do your job to humanity, and enjoy it, like find what you love and let it kills you. What could be better than this,
That's so. I never heard it said like that before. That's beautiful. That's just mic drop beautiful. Wow. Yeah, I love it. It's interesting when you say it like that. It reminds me quite often when you hear people, or I'll interview writers or just spiritual people, and sometimes they'll tell me, a recent writer was telling me, and this happens a lot, that when they sit down to write, it's not like they're writing. And this is for all creators, whether you're an architect, an engineer, you're coding, you're writing. But I I I would like to challenge people to sit down and quietly create something and feel the creative spirit work through you. And once you begin to establish and understand that relationship, you can begin to see it working more and more, clearer and clearer, finer and finer. And it's something that's really liberating because it takes away a lot of the negative emotions of guilt. It takes away the small mindedness that can sometimes cloud our judgment in relationships. And it's an easy exercise. Do some breathing and just feel the spirit move through you. And I know that may sound a little hokey to some people, but I promise you, it's really worthwhile. And I challenge everybody to check out Dr. Jessica Rochester, check out Shahin, reach out, like see what they're doing, and find the divine spark in you that has inspired them, and understand that everybody has it, and we're moving towards a better place and a better world, and everybody's going to become a better version of themselves and try to rise above both joy and sorrow. Read some Sufi poetry, right? Like there's some of the greatest linguistic constructs in the history of mankind come from the idea of the Sufi romanticists, and it's really beautiful. So yeah,
Right. Yeah, like imagine like the Rumi. Everybody talks about Rumi,
yeah,
but who enlightened Rumi? There was a guy from a city Tabriz, like his name is Shams, like which means sun. So he didn't even want the fame. So
yeah,
he just like enlightened Rumi and let him just, take care of everything. And he just
right.
wanted to. And if you travel to Turkey, you see that the great like temple for Rumi, but no place for Shams. Even like it happens to all the Sufis, they didn't want to even have a track of themselves. They just
Mm,
want to be like hidden and hidden and hidden, and just like the spirit, like the God, like the just nothing. Some people like have this like so as you mentioned, when you become conduit, sometimes it's just you are surrendered, like
yeah,
you just let it flow through you. So sometimes you can be someone which like inspire others, but also you can also inspire others and be nothing, be just don't fame, and also I don't know, wealth, and also just this spiritual story and spiritual game could be just nothing. So I like you'll see that some I don't know, like some monks that
hmm,
stay in the core of like silence for years. So they don't really care about the story, sharing the story. But of course, I'm super confident that they inspire lots of people, that when they travel there, they get inspired. So that all being said, as you mentioned, it's just about being a conduit, because being empty and let the spirit, shines through you. Either you're Sufi, or
yeah,
you're a Buddhist, or you're Native American, you're a shaman, or whatever. Just the things. And then the good thing is that in our modern life, we have this opportunity to explore these different concept, this different path, and it helped us to like this helped me to unbias my beliefs, to be to try to be something beyond those beliefs even.
yeah.
So that's something that I'm that it was really helpful for me to just see the like the Rumi's poem about the elephant in a dark room. Like, have you ever heard that
I don't think I'm
story?
familiar with it. Can you
Yep.
share a little bit about it?
So there was an elephant, right, in a dark room, and they asked blind people to come and
Mm,
touch it and explain what is the elephant look like. So again, getting back to our discussions about the higher dimensions, oh, it's a
right,
really good to finish, right? It's just the higher dimensions, like we cannot understand it, but those blind people come and like touch what, like, one person like touched the leg of the
right.
elephant, one like tail of the elephant, like a different
Mhm.
part of his elephant, and then
Yeah,
based off of their experience, they shared they shared like what the elephant looked like. Oh, the elephant is like a column, like it's just whatever. But they just, it was based off of their perception
yeah,
that they have this feeling. So imagine that when you have this opportunity to see the world through the eyes of the
mm,
Sufis, or
yeah,
just through the eyes of the Buddha, or like the Hindus, or like Jesus consciousness, or just shamans, or
yeah,
anything like seeing the spirit through different perspectives, it really helps you to be unbiased and be free and not even get trapped to those spiritual egos and patterns, and see that, oh, what is the like the convergence of like the convergence of all these spiritual beliefs, what that point, like that converge, the things, I
yeah,
think that really, that's something really holy, and I love it, and I'm super grateful that the spirit, you know um, put some people like Dr. Rochester
yeah.
and like Matthew Ledo and wonderful people like you in front of myself to always get inspired and improve myself. So thank you so much, George, as well, for having me here, and just and transmitting a lots of like positive energy through those wonderful smiles and laughs. Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate it. It's easy to do when you're constantly in a state of amazement and surround yourself with interesting people that care about you and want to help make the world better and are doing cool things themselves and seek to inspire. And so, yeah, I'm really thankful for that. Hang on one second here. I'm going to close out with all of our guests, but I want to talk to you for one more minute. Ladies and gentlemen, please go down to the show notes, check out Shahin, check out our podcast, reach out to the TrueLife podcast. And if you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. And we will see you guys soon. Thank you for everybody showing up today. I hope your life is beautiful. I hope you're in the arms of people you love and the sun is shining and the birds are singing. That's all we got for today. Ladies and gentlemen, aloha.